Okay.
Catches your voice good also?
Yeah. I wanted to speak today, thinking what to speak about. I wanted to speak about the Shaykhs of Eliyouhu Hanavi and the Gula. The meaning of Eliyouhu Hanavi is one of the most, you might say, fascinating as kids. You know, he comes to the night of Pesach, waiting for Eliyouhu Hanavi to come in. The Shaykhs of Eliyouhu Hanavi,
Mevasar Agula.
The Shaykhs of Eliyouhu Hanavi to Mashiach is something which is ingrained in children from a very young age. You know, a very strong connection. The Indian of Eliyouhu Hanavi, what exactly he's supposed to do, what it's all about. That Mr. Rambam himself writes, what the Indian of Eliyouhu Hanavi is one of the things that it's not the Devarim Stumim Name Eliyouhu Hanavim, that it's not clear by the Nevi'im. It's things that are concealed, and also the Chachamim don't have the Kabbalah tradition exactly what it's all about, but they have Machlokes. These are one of the things that the Rambam says that we don't know how it's going to be until it's going to be.
It's definitely not going to merachik those that are...
Yeah. So now I just wanted to give a little overview about Din of Eliyouhu Hanavi. Just before I get to it, I want to be mevar stam and this idea that Rambam writes, there's certain things about Mashiach that we don't know how they're going to be until they're going to be. So why is it that way? Why are there inyanim about Mashiach that we taka don't know? When the Chayrav Ot Gedar Zayin, everything should have been clearly put out in front of us. So there's two general Nekudas here. One answer, the Rebbe gives an answer. The Rebbe says, since the coming of Mashiach depends on the situation of the Yidden, if they're in a situation of Zachu or Loi Zachu, if they're in a level that they're, and even in Zachu, even in the state where they're deserving, they're worthy of Mashiach, based on their avodah, there's different levels in Zachu, and how refined, how elevated Yidden are. So Mamela, the Eibusha didn't want to say the Bias Mashiach has to happen this way. It all depends, really. Bias Mashiach is something that depends on the avodah of Yidden. So if Yidden are in such a situation, will happen this way, and that situation will happen that way. That's one beer that the Rebbe gives. That's why also the Moshe, the Rebbe explains an interesting thing. Even regarding the third Beis HaMikdash, you know that the Mvuah of Yecheskel, even though Yecheskel Navi described the third Beis HaMikdash, is also not clear. The Rambam himself writes, says when the Chachamim built the second Beis HaMikdash, so they built it, certain things, me'ein devarim ha'mefurashim b'Yecheskel, certain things in Yecheskel are clear. There's other details that are unclear. So Mamela, they that only Mashiach will figure out, or whatever, the different Biurim of the Rebbe, what's going to happen with those parts. But when Mashiach will come, the Eibush will send on the Beis HaMikdash, so everything will be clear. But the question is, why are there things about the Beis HaMikdash that's not clear? The Rebbe himself says the same answer, because the building of the Beis HaMikdash, as I say, the Rebbe's answer, the building of the Beis HaMikdash depends on the avodah of the Yidden. If the Yidden will be in a higher way, so the Beis HaMikdash will be done in one way. If the Yidden will be in another massive, Beis HaMikdash will be done differently. That's one thing. But there's another part also that Rebbe says, the Rebbe explains in the certain places that the fact that certain things about Mashiach that are concealed is because the idea of Gula B'chlal is a level which is higher than understanding. There's certain Moshe, the Rebbe says, the Rambam writes at the end of the Rambam, that when Mashiach will come, we'll know Dvarim Hastumim, we'll know the hidden things. Right? I spoke about it the past few weeks. So the Rebbe connects it to, the Rebbe says, this is what the Rambam writes, that the things that, about Eliyouhu Hanavi, Gogumoging, things like that, Dvarim Stumim, Hein Eitzel Hanavim, that they're concealed, they're by the Nevi'im is connected with the V'yedim Dvarim Astum, which seems to me what the Rebbe is trying to say is that since Mashiach's, these things are Be'etzim, certain things are Be'etzim we don't know what, in other words, there are Nyonim that are Be'etzim higher than being revealed. The whole idea of the Keitz Hagula, the Rebbe explains, the coming of Mashiach is hidden. The time of the redemption from Mitzrayim was known. They knew it was supposed to be 400 years. Exactly the Cheshbon, the Eibusha played around with the Cheshbon, it ended up being 210, not 400. But the general time they knew. Galus Bavel, they knew it was 70. Even then, it wasn't clear, having the Gemara Megillah, the whole thing, how you counted the 70. It was mistakes that were made. But the general time was clear. The Gula Asida, it says the Eibusha didn't even reveal. The Lashon of the Gemara is that that the Eibusha didn't even to himself, so to say, it's only hidden in his heart. It's not revealed by his mouth. So the Rebbe explains because the inyan of Geula is higher than, it's inyan sasum, it's be'etzim an inyan which is higher than revelation. It's a very, very high level. That's why certain inyanim about Mashiach that are not revealed, because these inyanim that are not revealed reflect the aspect of Mashiach that essentially is higher than understanding, higher than definition. But b'chol, so that's just to give some discussion, something to think about why there's certain inyanim about Mashiach that are not clear. But the connection of Eliyouhu Hanavi with Mashiach, the Rambam writes, we don't know how it's going to be. And as the Rebbe himself said that it's lav dafka muchrach. It's not necessary that Eliyouhu Hanavi has to come before Mashiach. But either way, if Eliyouhu Hanavi doesn't come before Mashiach, Eliyouhu Hanavi definitely will play a role. Even after Mashiach comes, also have Eliyouhu Hanavi. Eliyouhu Hanavi is not going to be hiding in the shadows. There's a role that Eliyouhu Hanavi will play. I just want to give a little discussion about Eliyouhu Hanavi. I don't know how much I'll be able to cover today. Maybe we'll have to leave the rest for another year. You have the first time Eliyouhu Hanavi comes into the picture in Negeya and revealed Klad often Negeya the Gula Asidah is the end of Malachi. Actually, if you think about it, some Mepharshim point out the last Navi was Malachi. Chagei Zechariah Malachi, they're the last Nevi'im. The Neil was also a Navi, not the same level of Navi as them. Chagei Zechariah Malachi that period was the end of the Nevi'im. And Malachi, the end of the last Navi, so to say, it finishes off, Hinei Nochi Shalech Lechem Es Eliyouhu Hanavi, that I'm sending you Eliyouhu Hanavi, before the coming of Hashem's great and awesome day. And Api Pshat, some of Farshim point out, the Eibush is saying that now was the end of the time of the Nevi'im. Says the period of prophecy you always had. You had later, you had a Baskel, you had Ruach HaKodesh, you had different levels of communication from above, but the prophecy is the way it was in the time of the first Beis HaMikdash, and the beginning of the second Beis HaMikdash didn't continue on that same level. So the last Navi says, the Eibush says that even though Nevuah is going to stop, but you should know that before Mashiach comes, I'm going to send Eliyouhu Hanavi, then I'm going to send the Navi to prepare for Mashiach coming. So what is going to be his job? It says, V'heishi leivavis albonim, v'leibonim v'leiavosim. I'm sure everyone heard the pasuk. Eliyouhu Hanavi will return the hearts of fathers on children, the hearts of children on their fathers. Penova, the pasuk says, lest I come and I cases kalad its cherem, I'll destroy the whole world.
That's the last word in Malachi.
Yeah, so that's why we repeat. That's why we repeat the pasuk Hinei Nochi Shaleach, not to finish, in order to finish with a good thing. It's the end of the pasuk. So the Rambam, that's the pasuk where it says clearly about Eliyouhu Hanavi. The Rambam writes, if you look at now that's in Torah Shebechsav. In Torah Shebal Peh, you have a Mishnais in Masechta Eidius. The last towards, I forget exactly the Perek. I think it's towards the end of Eidius. It says there that Yochanan Mizaki said he had Mekubal on the Yuchveis. He had all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he has a discussion whether Eliyouhu Hanavi's job will be. But he uses there the lashon, and this is halacha l'Moshe Misinai. It's going back to Moshe Rabbeinu Misinai. So the Rambam explains that although, the Rambam, I'm just adding words, although the Nevuah is written down in Malachi, but Moshe Rabbeinu already told Eden about Eliyouhu Hanavi. Moshe Rabbeinu, he told Eden, when Moshe Rabbeinu told Eden about the Gul and Pashas Nitzavim, it says, V'shav, he told them, the Eibush Shav Hashem L'kech HaShvuscha, the Eibush will bring back the Eden. So when he was telling them what's going to lead up to Mashiach, he said there will come a person who will prepare the world for Mashiach, which is Eliyouhu Hanavi. So already Moshe Rabbeinu told him about Eliyouhu Hanavi. L'chayra Remez bought it, open Remezes. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu was, for 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu was arguing out with Eibush if she go on the Shlichus to redeem Eden from Mitzrayim. You have the beginning of Pasha Shmois by the sneh, back and forth. Rashi explains it was 7 days. And Moshe Rabbeinu tells Eibush, why are you sending me? Shlachna b'yad tishlach. Send the messenger you're going to send at the end of days. Who is that Shlachna b'yad tishlach? So Mepharshim explain that's Eliyouhu Hanavi. Mashiach, Eliyouhu Hanavi, they go together. But Pcholef and Moshe Rabbeinu was, you're already there. You see how Moshe Rabbeinu knew of Eliyouhu Hanavi, so to say, and he was mentioning Eliyouhu Hanavi. So we see that the Geula is very much associated with Eliyouhu Hanavi. Now, what exactly he's going to do is first of all, it's a matter of debate in halacha.
So as Girsa the Yankis, I don't know, Eliyouhu Hanavi comes 3 days before Mashiach to prepare the Olam. And the Rebbe spoke about it. Meret when Mashiach, Eliyouhu Hanavi noch nicht gekommen,
Yeah.
No, Eliyouhu Hanavi wird kommen, ich bin da zu verantworten von die Kasche.
Emes.
Okay, so Stam sagt, I mean,
Yeah.
talking about Eliyouhu Hanavi, so that's what we were told as kids. Ich meine, es ist sicher, wo es gehalten.
100%.
And the Rabbi spoke about it, at least.
So, the purpose of Eliyouhu Hanavi's coming, the Rambam describes Eliyouhu Hanavi's coming, he says a few words. He says, Yamid Navi L'yasher Yisrael L'hachin Libam. There will come a Navi to translate it loosely in English, to straighten out the Jewish people.
The Rambam says it.
The Rambam uses this motion. Or L'hachin Libam, and to prepare their hearts. And then Ve'inei Ba, what is
in Hilchos Malachim, zum Sof dort.
some soft in halacha base in the last of the perek, and he says he's not now. You have the just to give you a context. The Rambam is based on Mishnayos and then the Masechta Ediyos. There, the Mishnayos says that there's an argument what Eliyouhu Hanavi will come. So one opinion comes to say that there's a lot of the opinions deal that Eliyouhu Hanavi is coming to fix up problems with Yichus. Today we don't know what's going on, but I'm saying you had in certain mishpachas that weren't supposed to marry into Jewish people. There were certain chashash of mamzeris or whatever, and so certain mishpachas were forcefully pushed away that they can't marry in. Certain mishpachas were allowed to marry, and they weren't allowed to marry in. So one opinion says Eliyouhu Hanavi is going to come to make a seder. Which mishpachas? Those mishpachas that were not justably thrown out, to bring them back in. Those
Nicht nur Mamzerim, ich goy mechet. Yeah, good.
Anyway, one opinion says no, he's going to come l'karav avolei l'rachik. He's going to come only on a positive note. Those mishpachas that were rejected, that were outcasted, they'll bring them back. But he's not going to come to bring those mishpachas.
That were in, to tell them you belong.
Then he says, one says, loy l'rachik, loy l'karev, he's coming to take care of machloikesim. The other opinion says coming last shalom ve'elam, to make peace in the world, which is the other opinion. And then the Chachamim say that what's the lashon? The Chachamim say that. Is there a Rambam?
I think the Chachamim say last shalom ve'elam.
Chachamim say last shalom ve'elam.
Which Rambam? The last
Chachamim say last shalom ve'elam. Wait, huh?
Hilchos Malachim, yeah. No.
Yeah, who's that?
Here.
I'm sorry, the other one.
Anyway, that is what the pasuk says. Then there's another thing which, like he mentioned before, that what the Gemara says in Masechta Eruvin, that Eliyouhu Hanavi is coming to be mevaser de gula, to tell Yidden about the coming of Mashiach. Now, there's a whole. I don't want to get into the lumdas here because it's not. I don't want to have an equal pulpul over here, and I don't want to get too lost in the shikayach. Yeah. Fine. So right. So the Chacham say Yalas Shalom Beilam. So now, I don't want to get involved into the nigla thing that it's. But the Rebbe explains. There's a famous hadin the Rebbe of the Rambam Tavshim Zayin. The Rebbe discussed a lot about this. It's a lot that still needs to be discussed even after the Rebbe Sicha. But the Rebbe there's if you look throughout the Gemara and the Drashim, you'll see there's many things that we attribute to Eliyouhu Hanavi. What Eliyouhu Hanavi will do. First of all, everyone probably heard Yehimunach Hatshiyav Eliyouhu. When there's somebody Agmaisam with Agneva Aramai something, you don't know what to do with it, who you should return it to, whatever it is, or you've found something, you don't know who to return it to, what do you do with it? So it says Yehimunach Hatshiyav Eliyouhu. You leave until Eliyouhu Hanavi come. He'll take care. He'll let everyone know, where whatever.
Who does it belong to?
Who does it belong to? You have al derech you have when it comes to Nyanim in Torah, when it comes to Sfeikis in Torah, everyone knows that when someone learned in Cheder, when it says Teiku in Gemara, which Teiku means, I guess it's a sof, whatever exactly literal taich is, so bleiben by a sof, however you taich a pshutei, that everyone knows the famous Hashir Tevis, Teiku is Tishbi, Taris, Kushis, Vi, Boyas. That Eliyouhu Hanavi will come and answer all the questions. Al derech zeh, there's various midrashim that discuss different pulas that Eliyouhu Hanavi will do. There's also, we know that there's a famous Maimer Chazal about, there's 10 that Pinchas Ben Yor says, Maimer Chazal, some have it in the end of Masechta Saita, I think, it's in a few places, different Gersois. Zrizus Mevila, there's 10 level steps of holiness. You know, there's a 12-step program. There's the 10 steps that Pinchas Ben Yor says that being cleanliness leads to this, and this leads to that, and holiness leads to purity, whatever it is. And he ends off that this leads to Tchias HaMeisim. Tchias HaMeisim leads to Eliyouhu Hanavi. So there's different ways of learning that Gemara.
So
there's different ways of learning the Gemara. So some people explain that Eliyouhu Hanavi will come before Tchias HaMeisim. Pshat is that Eliyouhu Hanavi will come before Tchias HaMeisim. Some other people learn that Eliyouhu Hanavi will be the first one to stand up by Tchias HaMeisim. We all learn that Eliyouhu Hanavi is B'chal not Begeder Meis, he's Begeder Chai. But there's those that disagree with that. So he'll be the first one, but maybe I'll leave that for a little bit later. But when there's a number of things we see that we're told. We know every Jewish child, he waits the night of Pesach for Eliyouhu Hanavi to come and tell him to be Mavaseh de Geula. You have Kamin Yonim that certain things it says in Midrashim, Eliyouhu Hanavi. If you want, for some places it says Eliyouhu Hanavi will anoint Mashiach as Mashiach. It says you need to have Mashiach, and every melech needs to have a Navi. It says that a true melech, in order to be anointed, need to have a Sanhedrin and a Navi. So there's a Lashon, the Ramban, he says that Mashiach will be anointed by Eliyouhu Hanavi. You have in other places it's explained that Tchias HaMeisim will happen through Eliyouhu Hanavi. Like I just mentioned the Gemara. From those places doesn't mention clearly Mashiach, it says Eliyouhu Hanavi. You have some places it says that certain things, the marshal, who's going to reveal where the Aron is hidden, the Aron Habris with the Luchas, and all these things, going to be Eliyouhu Hanavi. Kama v'kam in Yonam and Midrashim you see that are associated with Eliyouhu Hanavi and the Gula, B'fat the Gula. Before I get to that, I just want to say there's two nekudas I want to speak about by the shir. Just one nekud al Chazer Vort from the Rebbe, the Hadran Tavshim Mem Zayin, and then discuss a little bit more about what is exactly the role of Eliyouhu Hanavi. That sikh of the Rebbe says a very interesting way of looking at it. It's a chiddush of the Rebbe. The Rebbe looks at it as a bepashtus, but the Rebbe says, how could you have an argument what Eliyouhu Hanavi is supposed to do? You can't have an argument in Mitzis. You can't have an argument about what is going to happen. You could have an argument about what should be the halacha. If you have two people, if this piece of meat should be kosher or treif, you could have one person says azoi, one person says azoi. You could have a dispute, an Indian in svara, Indian in understanding. You can have two opinions. But how can you have a machlekes in Mitzis? What Eliyouhu Hanavi will do? So the Rebbe says like this. The Rebbe says b'chal not a machlekes b'im Mitzis. The Rebbe says everyone agrees that Eliyouhu Hanavi will do all these things. Everything that they're arguing about, everyone agrees that Eliyouhu Hanavi will do them. The question just is like this. Eliyouhu Hanavi did many things. There's many things that Eliyouhu Hanavi did before he went up Lamaila. You had the story with Achav, with the Moshe by Har HaKarmel, the famous story when there was the whole thing, Eliyouhu Hanavi built a Mizbeach, and he made a contest with the Yidden, with the Nevi'ei Habal, and whichever one, a fire will come from heaven, and everyone said, Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim. That was Eliyouhu Hanavi. There's certain things that I'm adding these words into the Sikh, I'm saying there's certain things that Eliyouhu Hanavi did, even after he went up, the certain stories you have that Eliyouhu Hanavi did, v'chulu v'chulu. And then you have those things that Eliyouhu Hanavi is going to do that are done directly as this is his shlichus, this is his mission connected with the Gula. So the Rebbe says, when Eliyouhu Hanavi is going to do all these things, the argument is not what he's going to do. The argument is which of these things that he's going to do is the mission that he's being sent to do, which is connected with Mashiach. Which this Indian is in Demba state, this is the direct preparation, so to say, or this is the shlichus which is directly associated with the coming of Mashiach. So this is what they're arguing about. One person understood, and the Rebbe gives a very interesting thing. The Rebbe says the different Tanoim that are arguing about The Rebbe says the idea of geula, the idea of redemption, different people, based on their experiences, could understand the whole idea of geula differently. And that's a very motivating word to think about. It says different tanoim, someone that suffered more from physical persecution. So for him, geula is taken more in the light of redemption, physical persecution. Someone was gestanden in an andere Maim de Matzah, he had a different experience. To him, he understands the idea of geula to take care of other problems in life. So the whole idea of geula is, in a certain sense, is everything will be fixed. So the question is, what exactly is the idea of geula, which is the inyan that the Torah is telling us about the geula? And therefore, the Rebbe is not ma'idich so much in that part, but the Rebbe is more ma'idich, the Rebbe more focuses on how it reflects back on the mission of Eliyouhu Hanavi. What aspects that Eliyouhu Hanavi will do are the aspects which are directly associated with Mashiach. And that's what they're arguing about. This one says this one says that. Yichus, this type of yichus, that type of yichus, to make peace. And then the Rebbe says, and there's another opinion that says that all those things are true, they're going to happen. It's not the main job of Eliyouhu Hanavi. The main job of Eliyouhu Hanavi is wanting to come right before Mashiach comes and to tell us from under Midrash Mashas Mamish Yom Echad. Some Midrashim say Taka 3 days. In the Gemara, they're native, it's one day before Mashiach comes, at least according to what some of Farshim learn, that he'll come to be Mavasa the Gul, tell the Yidden Atot Kum Mashiach and be ready. Everything else he'll do, but that's not the Indian that's mamish associated with the Gula. So that's just to give a holistic understanding of all these things that people are arguing about. Eliyouhu Hanavi, they're true, but that's not going to be the main job of Eliyouhu Hanavi. Another vart the Rebbe says in the Ha'ar over there, the Rebbe says it could also be there'll be different tkufas. Says Eliyouhu Hanavi at one time will focus when he'll come, but there'll be some time, some extension of time. Some beginning he'll focus on one thing, then later he'll focus on another thing. The first kuf is not directly connected or other inyanim, then it will be the inyanim that are connected mamish with B'yas HaMashiach. So that is a very yesodistic avoid that the Rebbe spoke about, which there's a lot more room for pupulim, but that's not. I don't want to get into any pupulim here. Now, the main thing I wanted to discuss really is what is the need and the role of Eliyouhu Hanavi. You could ask a very big klotz kasha. What do you need Eliyouhu Hanavi? Aren't you going to have Mashiach? Can Mashiach take
him? You mean?
Huh?
Mutar Eliyouhu Hanavi.
Yeah, Mashiach is going to be a very talented person. Mashiach will obviously be l'chayda more talented than Eliyouhu Hanavi. Won't Mashiach be able to take care of all the problems? So, what I'm saying now, I'm being active, I'm saying clearly it's my own,
It's a practical question.
Very big practical question. So the truth is, and again I'll be mocked, and again, I'll say again, based on what I said above, we don't know all these things about Eliyouhu Hanavi not perfectly clear. Mainly, it's not necessary that you don't have to say, it doesn't have to be that he will definitely come before Mashiach. Mashiach will come even without Eliyouhu Hanavi. And there's a number of ways of understanding it. One simple way of understanding it, as the Rebbe said, brought down one of the thing was the Urim V'Tumim, the Kresi Uplesi, writes that this fact that Mashiach, Eliyouhu Hanavi will come before Mashiach comes, is only when Mashiach comes Be'itav. Mashiach comes in a set time. And the time that Mashiach comes, Achishena, he comes, in other words, he comes in a miraculous way, when everything is speeded up, then everything, B'chal, another place explained that everything will then be miraculous. But then you don't have to wait for Eliyouhu Hanavi to come. Mashiach will come without Eliyouhu Hanavi. So the whole coming of Eliyouhu Hanavi for Mashiach is not a necessary stage. So, and we also, even according to the Ram that he will come, the Rebbe says we don't know what stage of Mashiach he's going to come. Is he going to come before Mashiach starts doing anything? Is he going to, because there's many stages. Again, I don't want to get into any pulpulim, but there's from different places, it could be understood there's different stages of when he could come. It's not even clear when he's going to come. Marshall, very simple thing, Rabbi Akiva thought Bar Kochva was Mashiach. Eliyouhu Hanavi didn't come. So obviously he understood that that Eliyouhu Hanavi didn't have to come yet for him to establish Bar Kochva as Mashiach. Just one dogma that when and how and if he'll come is something which we don't know until it's going to happen.
The biggest question is going to the Rambam.
Now one word, the Rambam himself says Meveis Nicht.
Yeah, but the Rambam himself says that he says
Meveis Nicht.
If he's going to come before or not?
The Rebbe learns Pshat, that's the way the Rebbe learns. There's different ways of learning, but L'chayra zeh kumtais. Not you don't. Okay, the Rambam doesn't say you don't know. The Rambam says it could either come before Gog Magog or before Bias HaMashiach. So first of all, the Shaila is of Gog Magog is before Bias HaMashiach or after Bias HaMashiach. Second Shaila is if the Rambam holds Gog Magog is Mukhrach to happen. It's not Mukhrach to happen. He doesn't have to. I don't want to get into the whole. There's a few ways of learning here Pshat. From what is the role?
Rambam's raya that Mashiach doesn't have to do all in
Right.
That's the whole raya.
Right.
In other words, that he learns from what happened by Bakechva and Rakiva as a raya of what has to happen by Mashiach.
Right.
And if Eliyouhu didn't come.
But Bakechva didn't finish his job yet.
Okay, so that's the answer.
So
that's the answer
from the Rambam is
But that's the raya that...
Yeah, from the Rambam is Mashal Eliyouhu Hanavi will come before Mashiach's final victory. But even there, again, there's different ways of learning the Rambam. I don't want to get lost in Pupul. Beside the Clark, beside here's the But I wanted to say one word. What is the role Eliyouhu Hanavi is playing over here? The way it seems from there's one sikh of the Rebbe which gives some understanding of what the role Eliyouhu Hanavi is going to play. The Rebbe has a famous sikh, tonight has Kislev, says Man Grama. The Rebbe has a famous sikh with this Kislev. Tavshim Amvav is printed in Kodei Sichas Chedek Klam and Fitas Kislev. The Rebbe has a whole sikha. He's discussing why did we have to go through Yutas Kislev. The Rebbe says that there's a whole sort of Pinchas Karitzer, one of the students of the Baal Shem Tov, which he didn't hold, like the Maggid was revealing Chassidus. He was a bit upset. He felt the Maggid was revealing too much. So he went into the bathroom once and he found a Blepel Chassidus laying in the bathroom. And he came out holding the Blepel Chassidus, and Al Rebbe already realized what's going on, and he was afraid that Pinchas Karitz's Kpeda is being upset is going to affect the Maggid upstairs. So he said, he brought a Moshe, a famous Moshe we all know of, a king's son that was deathly ill, and the only remedy was to take the crown jewel of the crown of the king and to grind it up and mix it with water and to try to pour it on the king's lips, son's lips. Maybe some things will go in. So even though everything spills all over the place, the king says it's kedai. And the Moshe was, despite the fact that some chassidus ended up in the bathroom, it's all kedai, a bit to save the Yidden. And Pinchas Kadosh heard that it was Neskabel, and it says that was Mavav, that took away the Kitrug L'maylis. What was the whole thing of Yutas Kislev? So the Rebbe said, so why did Al Rebbe to go through the whole thing of this Kislev again? So the Rebbe explains that what Al Rebbe was told, in order to save the Yidden, you don't have to explain Chassidus with all arichas. You could say a few vertlach, like Polish Chassidus style, like Al Rebbe maybe be, the early, vertlach. The Alter Rebbe decided not just to say Chassidus enough to inspire the crowd, to keep them in touch, that they should still keep Torah mitzvahs, but to say Arichis, to say Chassidus with full lengthy explanations and everything. So that became a whole kitrug. What's going on over here? Mela, if you need to save the sons, the son of the king, we could understand. But here, you're explaining Chassidus. It's not necessary to.
The Rebbe was
that's a famous sikha. The Rebbe spoke during the court case on this forum. So the Rebbe says because Chassidus is a preparation b'yas Mashiach, and before Mashiach comes, we have to already prepare for that time. So Mela, the Rebbe says, since Mashiach will come, the whole occupation of the world will only be l'dasas Hashem, to know Hashem. It's not enough just to give up his vertlach to inspire the crowd. You need to prepare them for Mashiach, so they need to have full-on chassidus. So the Rebbe says in order, that's the reason why Eliyouhu Hanavi is needed to come, because in order that there shouldn't be a sudden change, all of a sudden everyone is being Yisik l'dayas Hashem, you need to have, so to say, a gradual change. Not that Mashiach has to come in a gradual way, but that the way how the world is in the times of Mashiach, there has to be a gradual change. So anyway, so Eliyouhu Hanavi's coming, in a certain sense, I just want to finish off quickly, is that in order when Mashiach comes, Enochanam Mashiach will do very major things, but in order that Mashiach's coming, shouldn't you have to say, zap the world. So Eliyouhu Hanavi will be more, to prepare the Kalim, so to say, for Mashiach's coming. So there's more to be mindful. So main things will happen. The Golam Mitzvah Shleim take it from Yad Mamish.